Okay. Cool. What time is it? We'll wait a few minutes. And just as like a technical thing, you don't have to turn your cameras on if you don't want to, but like we would love to see your pretty faces. But we're not going to make it a requirement or anything, obviously. Keyboard, you all look very nice.
Don't upset our fearless leader.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely don't. All right. Barno, I really like the collared shirt.
It's my pajamas.
No, it's not.
Oh, no, no, no. They're not my pajamas.
Oh,
I'm
like,
bottom.
no. Oh my goodness.
That's a good idea, though.
I'm wearing pajama bottoms too, so it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, it's 2 o'clock, so I'm just gonna get started. But thank you everyone for coming. We really appreciate it. We know this semester is gonna be really difficult and a little weird with everything on Zoom, but we're gonna try our best to like keep everything engaging and still be able to have fun on a Zoom call. So just to start off with introductions, my name is Elise DeLuca. I'm the current president of the Bentley Sustainable Investment Group. I'm a senior from Wolcott, Connecticut, but I'm currently living in Waltham off campus, so I will be around. So hopefully you guys will see me around a little bit. I'm a corporate finance and accounting major in the BSMS program, and yeah, it's a little bit about me. We're going to introduce the entire e-board and the advisory board and all of that in a little bit, but first I just kind of want to go over the club and the agenda for today. So yeah, introductions, and then we're also going to introduce the sector analysts who are all here. They made some presentations for you guys. We're going to briefly go over, you know, I'm sure a lot of you know what ESG means, but we just say it all the time, like ESG, sustainability. So we're going to kind of go over what that means to us and how we're integrating that in our portfolio, and then end with a conclusion. But we're going to take questions at the end. Feel free to just like unmute yourself though at any time, like if you're not interrupting, it doesn't matter, and you could ask us anything. But if not, you could save them for the end as well. So to start off, who we are and kind of like our mission statement. So we adopt sustainable, responsible, and impact investing. So that's coined as SRI. And then environment, social, and governance is coined as ESG. Again, we're going to say those a lot. And we're obviously here to generate long-term competitive financial returns. And we're a student fund that manages over $500,000 of Bentley's endowment. So this isn't like fake money. This is real money. We take club very seriously because obviously we are managing this large portion of money. So this, yeah, just to kind of clear that up. But so the account name on the fund is BSIG. That's kind of how we refer to ourselves. We are tax exempt endowment. And then currently our assets are approximately $520,000, but obviously fluctuating with the market. We try to invest on horizons over 3 years. And the other stuff is kind of like not super important, but just so you have this in the back of your mind. We are excited that since our inception, which was last year, by the way, our fund performance has had a gross return of 24.5%. And then since we are a newer fund and we did just start last year, we don't have many holdings and we did get stopped out of some. So we're currently only in 3 listed below. And then the rest of the money is in our ETF of choice, which is SUSL, and that's the MSCI USA leaders. And I know a lot of this is like, you might not know what I'm really talking about, but as we go through the presentation, we're kind of explain this a little bit more in depth. So this is just the structure, overall structure of the group. So the investment committee is made up of kind of 3 tiers. So the first tier, you have the e-board, which you're going to meet in the next slide. And most of us are juniors and seniors. There's 6 main positions, but we're actually going to add a new one, which I'll talk about as well. And then we also have the advisory board. So they don't come to all the general body meetings, but we do have access to them, and we have advisory board meetings with them. And those are industry experts. And again, you'll get to see who those are in a moment. But they really just help us out, act as a sounding board, give us advice. Most of them have at least 20 years of experience in the investment management industry. A lot of them with a focus on ESG. So they're so great and one of our most vital assets that we have. And then the next kind of tier we have are the lead analysts. So we have 6 sectors, 2 analysts per sector, and they cover those sectors. They are responsible and the ones that are actually giving the stock pitches, and then they also host sector meetings. And then you have the general body. So as a general body member, you really put what you get into it, or get what you put into it, sorry. So you can just come to the general body meetings and hear about ESG news and, or go to the networking events and that sort of thing. Or if you really want to get involved, you can go to as many sector meetings as you want, really help the analysts out with their pitches, see what they're doing, like more in the functional and like technical aspects of it. And if you really want to get involved and really help them out, we're kind of opening up this year for some of the general body members to be able to actually help present if you were really like a vital component to those pitches, because we really want the general body to be able to just do more in terms of actually like giving the pitches and being involved. But again, if you could also just come to the general body meetings and hear them and vote on them and kind of listen to the news as well. So it really just depends on the level of interest that you have and the time commitment that you want to put into it. So we're just going to go quickly through. Each e-board member is just going to introduce themselves. I already did, so I'm going to pass it on to Scott.
How you doing, guys? My name is Scott Stenson. I'm a senior at Bentley, and my major is finance, and I'm from Wilmington, Mass, but I live off campus in Belmont, so I'll be around all year.
So hi, I'm Mohsen Al-Tiki. I'm the VP of Portfolio Management. I'm currently just off campus in Waltham, a senior and a CFA major.
Hi everyone, my name is Miraj. I'm a senior here at Bentley. I'm studying corporate finance and accounting and sustainability. This year I'm going to be the VP of ESG research, and I'm really excited to work with all of you.
Hi everyone, I'm Haley. I'm a junior. I'm the VP of Marketing and External Relations for the Sustainable Investment Group this year. I'm super excited to continue working with everyone.
Hi everyone, I'm Alexandra, and I'm currently a graduate student at Bentley University pursuing financial analytics. I just finished my bachelor's in CFA. Currently I'm in New York City, so I'll be doing everything virtual, but very excited to work with you all.
Great, thanks. So in terms of who else comprises of the e-board, so we also have 2 freshman liaison every year. So those applications will be going out this week some point, so look out for those through your email, and we could also post them on campus groups as well. And we also are looking to hire a VP of data analytics, so this is new. And this person this could be any age group, even the grad. I know we have some grad students on here, but we're really looking for someone that has a background in coding or financial analytics and can help us with our portfolio dashboards and different things like that. So there'll be a actual application with a very in-depth description of what we're looking for, but just know that there's a lot of open positions this semester. And then 2 of our analysts are actually going to be graduating this semester. So we'll also have 2 analyst positions open next semester as well, which isn't the usual. We usually only hire in the spring. So if you are really involved this year, there's definitely an opportunity to be on e-board and be an analyst as well. And just the advisory board that I had mentioned, so they aren't with us today, but our faculty advisor is Professor, everyone just calls her Professor E. She's the vice president of strategic initiatives at Bentley. She comes to most of the board meetings. She's very involved. We also have Jens. He's the CEO of Morova. He also works for Natixis. Fred is the director of ESG research at Manulife. Amanda is the director of sustainability at Bentley. And then we also have Quinn, who's the director of equities at BlackRock, specifically heading up strategic sustainable initiatives. So again, like, such a vital part of our group, and you really have access to a lot of these people. They come to a lot of networking events. They host a lot of different speaker events that we have. So you will be able to talk to them at some point. And they also help us out with like our investment policy, pitching the investment committees, general tips, but just really supporting us throughout all aspects of the club. So in terms of our first year, so we're looking at last year now, we did have a lot of fun events. We had a Red Bull event, so that was kind of cool. And the guest speaker was helping students how to pitch, and kind of the students actually got to go up and do like a mock pitch. And then we also had an ESG investing panel discussion, which we're definitely planning on doing this year. And it's also networking. So as you can see here, we had people from Trillium, Manulife, Acadian, and we're definitely working on that to have some of them return, but have some new faces this year. I'm not going to get into the strategic partnerships too much because Mirage is going to talk about MSCI a little bit later, but just know that being part of this group, you do have access to MSCI, which is very valuable. It's very expensive, and you can't really get that through Bentley. And then, yeah, that's the only thing I'm really going to touch on. Some major accomplishments from last year. We do have a 22-page annual report. So if you're really interested in the club and you want to know more about it, I highly recommend going on our website and reading it. We did complete our 20-page investment policy statement. And I mentioned this before, but we have a 24.5% return since our inception. And one thing to look forward to that we did this summer, but we're probably going to host again next semester, is the analyst training program. So that's hosted by the e-board, just helping you guys learn more about fundamentals, modeling, ESG research, and presentation etiquette. But in terms of this semester, we're definitely going to focus more on the ESG research side of it. So just some things to look forward to, kind of a sneak peek at this year. We're going to have an MSCI training with the director of equities at BlackRock. So that's going to be really exciting. And I know I've been mentioning it a lot, and again, Mirage is going to go more into it, but it's just an ESG platform that has so much data on companies. So you can search, like Goldman Sachs or something, and it'll give you an entire ESG profile on it, very in-depth, like 20-page reports, and it's so great. So you're not like physically yourself having to go through every single data point of these companies. We're also going to have some other inner work networking events. So for example, the, Intentional Endowment Network. So we might have some partnerships with like UCal Berkeley and some other sustainable investment groups that are around the country, and we can kind of share ideas and we can learn from each other. The training program already touched on, the networking event as well. We're also thinking, I know like there's quite a few freshmen and even sophomores on here, so I know it's tough for you guys. I'm not really getting to meet people and like not getting to go to these group meetings. So we were thinking maybe the e-board and the analysts can have some mentorship and shadowing opportunities for you guys, like telling you about our internships and different things like that. And there'll also be some volunteer opportunities as well. And in terms of what to expect, I mean, this meeting is just very informational, kind of getting everyone familiar with the club. But in terms of what to expect for the future, we usually talk about relevant ESG news to start the meeting, and everyone else can share some as well if you found really anything interesting. We also have a lot of trainings and lessons on how to kind of incorporate sustainability into your investment thesis and the entire investment process. The analysts will actually be giving their stock pitches at these, which every general body member can vote on. And we usually give other portfolio updates as well. So just in terms of how the fund is structured, we have 6 main sectors, which are listed here, and you're going to meet all the analysts in a moment. And they each have 2 themes per sector. The themes is actually something that we've been working on, and they're not definitely set in stone at this point, but Mirage is going to go over that in a little bit. So without further ado, the sectors are kind of going to present to you guys so that you'll know which ones you're interested in if you want to go to these sector meetings. They're kind of almost pitching themselves to you. So just take note of the ones, maybe companies that caught your eye or industries that you're interested in, just so if you can fill out the survey at the end, which is actually in the chat box in the Zoom, so that we know, so we can place you in the right groups and kind of find times that like work best for all of you. So I'm going to pass it on to the energy and utility sector to kind of introduce themselves and give you a better idea about their industry.
All right, hi guys. I'm Max Murphy. I'm a senior analyst with the energy, utilities, and infrastructure sector. I've been with the group since its founding. It's been a great experience. I'm a corporate finance and accounting major with a minor in global sustainability, and I'm currently working at an investment bank here in Boston, where I will be living for the semester.
Hey, how's it going, guys? My name's Isaac Saunders, and I'm a senior analyst within the energy sector along with Max. Max brought me on under him last year, pretty soon after the group was founded, and taught me a lot about what ESG investing means. I'm currently a junior studying finance and sustainable investing, and I currently have an internship at a private equity firm here in Boston.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Right. So to give a brief overview of what we're going to be focusing on within our sector, we're going to be looking a lot at renewable energy, whether that is solar, wind, hydro, or nuclear. And not only are we going to be looking at people who install these products, we're going to be looking at the entire supply chain and really trying to figure out what is the revenue drivers within this industry. We're also going to be looking at innovative utility providers and green infrastructure, which is usually water. And the ESG integration within this sector is going to be looking a lot at carbon footprint, sustainable water, power, and infrastructure, and social improvement. So this is whether or not these companies are accessible for individuals in low income areas, or if they're just providing these services to people in high income areas. And an example of a previous investment within this sector is NextEra Energy, which is the largest electric utility holding company by market cap, and their main focus is on renewables within wind and solar.
All right, so the industry we operate in is pretty broad actually, which is great because it gives us a lot of opportunities as to where we'd like to invest. Some of the players include large-scale producers of electricity, like Isaac said, any of the renewable players, as well as utilities providers as well that provide electricity across large geographic areas. What they offer is power production and storage. Storage is something new that me and Isaac are looking to dive into, if anyone's interested in that. Power transmission, as well as infrastructure, construction, and repair. And on top of that, what's really exciting about our industry is that the solar industry, for example, has over a 20% CAGR over the next 6 years. The wind industry's got a 8% CAGR over the next few years, and the U.S. is likely to spend nearly $8.5 trillion on infrastructure in the next 20 years. So there's a lot of industry tailwinds to hop on, which would be great for making investments. And then, so some of the companies in the space include, large renewable energy companies like Brookfield, for example, Atlantica, Avangrid, which is a lot of wind, Dominion, which is pretty diversified, and then some solar companies that build inverters and panels and whatnot, like Vivint Solar and Enphase, which I'm sure you guys may have heard of in the news. And even Tesla, actually, we include because they have a large solar presence and they're working on battery storage. So there's some really interesting companies in here if you guys are looking to do energy and infrastructure.
All right, thanks, guys. We're gonna move on to financials and real estate sector.
All right, hi everyone. I'm Haley Carangelo. I'm currently a junior, majoring in corporate accounting and finance with a data tech minor. I am new to the club, just signed on this past year as an analyst, so definitely don't be nervous if you're also new. and are not familiar with the ESG information, it's also a learning process for me as well. So hopefully if you join the financials and real estate sector, I'll be able to educate you more about ESG in terms of financial services and real estate companies. And I'll pass it on to James to introduce himself now as well.
Hey guys, yeah. So I'm James. I'm also a junior. I'm a CFA major, and like some of my experiences, like did consulting for small businesses last summer, and also like joined in May.
So yeah, in terms of our sector focus, obviously areas of interest are going to be real estate companies. So for example, like Hannon Armstrong, which analysts from last year, I believe, did a stock pitch about that company. And then as well as Prologis, which is a company that James and I are working on right now. And then also financial service companies. So these could be commercial banks like JP Morgan, Bank of New York Mellon, which I've started to look into, and then also companies like MasterCard and Visa. And then in terms of ESG integration, we're really looking into green infrastructure, financial access, and other themes that align with SDGs, which are Sustainable Development Goals. So in terms of green infrastructure, for example, for real estate companies, you know, if they're building with natural resources, incorporating sustainable practices within their infrastructure. Financial access could be, you know, just offering access to investment tools and financial education to populations that, you know, have higher poverty and inequalities in other places. And just looking into more themes overall that align with sustainable development goals, such as reducing inequalities, promoting quality education, climate action, and so forth. And yeah, so previous investments was Hannon Armstrong, a real estate company that really focused on energy efficiency and decarbonation through various projects. So that's just an example. We'll definitely get more into the analysis behind the stocks with fundamental research as well within our individual sector meetings.
Yeah, so and here's a look at the industry. So in terms of like what types of companies, I know you kind of got a peek at that in the last slide, but things like banks, asset managers, REITs, so real estate investment trusts, insurance companies. And in terms of what they do, a lot of them are kind of in the name, but investment management, real estate, investment banking, insurance products, or like commercial banking. And some interesting things that we saw was the idea of like green cities or smart cities where they have to have like sustainable infrastructure. So buildings that are not producing water waste or using solar power, things like that. And then in terms of like the finance side of it, the push for wider financial access, that's just pretty much in the name saying like reaching more people, not being limited to a certain group of people that can use it, being able to have these tools and information out so the majority of people can use it. Yeah, and then here's some companies that we look at in this industry. So Prologis, that's a REIT company, you know, banks like BNY Mellon, but also something like JP Morgan or the commercial banks you would think of would be included in this also.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I'm going to pass it on to consumers now.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Santini, and I'm a senior analyst in the consumers industry. This is also my first year in the club, so definitely not a pro with ESG investing, but like Haley said, it's a learning process for everyone. I'm a senior at Bentley. I have a major in finance, and this past summer I interned with RSM as a management consulting intern focusing in CFO services.
Hi guys, I'm Ben Balacero. I'm a junior. I joined the club when it started last fall. I'm currently a finance major, and this summer I interned at a small private equity firm. So the focus of our sector, I don't know why the C is so much smaller, but areas of interest include alternative food production. So I know a lot of you have probably heard of Beyond Meat or other sort of vegan alternate foods. And then also reusable household goods or packaging. This is something that you probably don't think of a lot, but when you think of like, you know, razors, dish detergent, all that sort of thing, there's a lot of waste that comes involved with those. And so we're looking at reusable and alternative ways to make those less damaging. And so kind of go along with those areas of interest, we're looking to find, you know, increased access to food, and then reduction of plastic use specifically in just any sort of household good. We don't have an investment in the portfolio yet, so that will be our goal for this fall, but we did pitch Starbucks last fall. or last spring?
So a lot of the companies that you see in the consumer industry you'll probably be very familiar with. Like Procter and Gamble actually has a lot of brands of just household items like Pantene, Old Spice, Tide, and Quaker and General Mills, food products, and then I'm sure you all know Walmart and Chipotle, all like very popular. So like I said, they just provide products that you all use probably every single day. Consumer discretionary spending is the primary driver of this industry. We're all consumers, and we all have to buy our household goods for everyday use. So it's a really big industry. It's very broad, but it's very important to look at ESG for some of the reasons that Ben mentioned before.
Yeah, and as Anna kind of touched on, the companies that we focus on are primarily ones that you know of: Chipotle, Procter and Gamble, Beyond Meat, Yeti, and Walmart are the 5 that we picked. We're currently looking at Yeti, and then I believe Anna's looking at Kellogg too right now.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Now for the IT sector.
How's it going, guys? I'm Nathan Hirsch. I'm a senior here at Bentley with a major in EcoFi and a minor in CIS. And I've been with the group since the beginning, and it's been a great learning experience. And over the summer, I had a little bit of an internship at a fintech focusing in ESG financial research.
And I'm Cam Tierney. I'm a junior finance student here at Bentley, and I was in the consumers group last year with Ben, and when we pitched Starbucks. So I've always had a passion for technology, and I work for a SaaS company for the last 3 years, so I have some kind of inside knowledge as well, and just like following the innovation. And so yeah, we'll go to the next slide, Elise. So for sector focus, areas of interest, technology is a really broad category, but what we're really focusing on are hardware. So like think semiconductors, or like an iPhone, phone makers, that kind of stuff. E-commerce is another focus for us. So obviously like Amazon, stuff like that. Software as a service, SaaS, which can be lots of different things. And just digital innovation very broadly. It's pretty broad, but we'll get into a little bit more about that going forward. And then for the ESG integration, our main focus is on ethical data security and privacy on the software side. Data breaches can be pretty impactful, and we want to make sure that people's security and privacy is protected, because that's pretty important stuff. And then just diversity of thought and leadership, which can come from gender diversity, racial diversity, other things like that, is definitely a big focus for any company, but specifically technology companies, because it affects so many different people's lives. And then for hardware manufacturers, whether it's semiconductor makers or just general hardware, supply chain scrutiny is something we're also focusing on. And then for previous investments, CRM is the ticker symbol, which is for Salesforce, which was the only investment that this sector has made into the portfolio yet.
Yeah, so going off that, kind of touch upon the stuff Cam already talked about, we are focusing on hardware and software as service companies. Obviously, our current investments in CRM is a software company, so we're kind of focusing on maybe looking at a different area of the industry going forward. And pretty self-explanatory, these companies provide software or hardware or manufacturing hardware, either at any end of the value chain we're going to look at, so suppliers or right to consumers or manufacturers as well. And some of the drivers in the industry we're seeing are, first off, 5G, which is the next generation of cellular data providers. And obviously there's a big opportunity for hardware companies that are providing the infrastructure for this, as well as the software companies that are offering the actual service. IoT, which is Internet of Things. Oh, sorry. IoT is another driver, which is Internet of Things. So like a lot of devices nowadays are connected to the internet and collecting data. So obviously companies need to provide that service. And lastly, e-commerce, which we already talked about. And we're going to go on to look at some firms we're interested in. So Solar Edge and Skyworks are some of the, and NVIDIA are some of the software companies or hardware companies we're looking at. And these companies stand apart with their ESG ratings on MSCI, so that's why we're interested in them. And then Shopify is e-commerce, so software business that we're also looking at.
Awesome. Healthcare?
Hi, everyone. My name is Mari Thompson, and I'm a senior at Bentley. I'm majoring in finance and minoring in corporate information systems. I have been a healthcare analyst since the start of this organization. And then this past summer, I worked in investment banking at Bank of America.
So hi, how are you guys? My name is Elias Bajares. I'm the other analyst of the healthcare sector. This is actually my first year with the group. I've been a general body member since the inception, but I'll be working as an analyst. This is my first year essentially. So I'm a junior majoring in finance, and also I'm double minoring in CIS and data tech.
So some areas of interest that we're looking at, we're really interested in the med tech and the innovations in that part of the sector. Pharmaceuticals, pet health with a high increase in the amount of pet owners we've seen, especially during the pandemic, as well as medical real estate and medical devices. For ESG integration, the two themes that we're mainly focusing on are fair product pricing. So healthcare companies have a lot of power, and it needs to be regulated to make sure that there's equal access to healthcare, which is where that theme of fair product pricing goes in. As well as healthcare technologies, so connecting people to healthcare easily. We've seen a lot of that with this pandemic, a lot of virtual screenings, as well as in different innovations of medical devices. So last year, we pitched Merck and Edward Life Sciences, which I think we were both stopped out of. Merck is a pharmaceuticals company, and they're mainly driven by the cancer drugs that they manufacture. And then Edward Life Sciences is a medical device manufacturer, and they mainly work on heart valves.
Yeah, so one of the main industries that we're actually going to look towards, obviously medtech, like we said before, is something that we're very interested. And telehealth, we've mainly seen a big increase in everything that's obviously keeping social distancing. So obviously Teladoc, for most of you that don't know, they essentially are, they're a platform where essentially you can just get your phone and really talk to a medical practitioner, and essentially you can conduct the same type of meeting that you would have just going to the hospital or wherever it is. It's a huge database that has a web of different medical practitioners, and also aids in essentially all of the communication of the different documents that needs to be obviously transported from the patient to the doctor. And it's essentially just a web of different services that the platform provides. They recently just announced a merger with Livongo. It's also a company that at least I was interested in, but obviously with the merger, it just made Teladoc a lot more appetizing for the group. So some of the main industry drivers that we're seeing is the aging population. So obviously with longer lifespans and obviously people being 65 and plus, that essentially means that they need more care. So that's obviously more demand in everything that the healthcare sector actually does, and obviously more demand for just healthcare services. Innovations in science and technology has also led to this basically increase in lifespan. It's also increased the demand of medical practices and health conscious efforts to maintain social distancing practice. So Teladoc, the main thing or the main selling point is that you don't really have to go to the doctor's office anymore. You can just obviously schedule a call through Teladoc and then essentially just send in your documents and then only go to the hospital if you really need to. So that's also almost killing two birds with one stone, maintaining social distancing and also obviously keeping your health in check. So some of the companies that we're looking at, first one being Amgen, they just got included to the Dow Jones after I believe Pfizer was actually kicked out. Thermo Fisher Scientific, they're essentially a life sciences instrumentation company. So they mainly produce different instruments for just the healthcare sector in general and many different aspects. Zoetis, like we said before, there's been an increase in pet ownership during this pandemic. So they're essentially a pharmaceuticals company for pets. Roche, if you haven't heard of Roche, they're essentially a medical testing company. So they essentially develop, create, market, and sell many of the different testing devices or just testing programs that a lot of different centers are actually using for COVID right now. And Medtronic is a company that I'm currently working on. They're essentially a medical device company, one of the biggest players in the industry.
Great. Last but not least, materials and industrials.
Okay, hi guys. My name is Emily. I'm a senior here at Bentley University, also studying finance. I was a senior analyst last year for the material and industrial sector, and this year I'm working alongside Victor. We have a lot of fun in this sector.
Victor, you're not unmuted.
I'm muted. I was just checking to see if you guys were ready or not. Yeah, I'm very excited to work with Emily this semester. I'm a first year grad student at Bentley. Did my undergrad up in Plymouth, New Hampshire, where I also played hockey for 4 exciting years. And this is my first year with the BSIG too. So I'm very excited.
So within our sector, Victor and I will be following companies that thematically focus on a greener economy through environmental sustainability and sustainable innovation. In terms of ESG integration, environmentally, we will follow companies and watch them with their waste management and emission control. Socially, we will follow companies' impact of products on the environment and their working conditions. And then in terms of governance, we're going to be following companies' board of diversity and their overall transparency. And then last year we pitched Caterpillar and waste management, and BSIG voted to invest in waste management, and it has done well since.
Yeah, so when you think about the industrial industry, think aerospace, waste management, construction. You can think large companies like Raytheon, Lockheed, 3M, Caterpillar, and whatnot. So those companies are all in the business of selling. Basically, you can break it up into 3 major industries within the industrials: capital goods, commercial and professional services, and transportation. So those companies are in there for selling heavy machinery for construction, agriculture, and other heavy industrial machinery. You can see it as construction for highways, railroads, marines, transportation, such as airlines. Under services, we can find waste management, disposal, water management, and pollution control. So if you think about the industrials sector and industry, it's very supply and demand driven. As you can imagine, maybe governments doesn't want to spend a lot of money on railroads right now, especially during times like these where cash flows are very pressed. So often in this industry, you have to find subsectors that perform more well than the industry as a whole.
Oh, that's not yours, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. So like energy, materials and industrial, our sector as a whole, is pretty broad, which gives us a lot of options and keeps it fun and different, and we can always take it in different directions. So currently we're looking a bit into Honeywell, which is a large manufacturing and infrastructure company, and they fit our theme to source a greener economy and environmentally, while being environmentally sustainable. They are right now reducing greenhouse gases, and the goal is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions per dollar of revenue by 90% within the next 5 years. That'll be fun to see how it plays out. Also, we are looking into General Motors. As an automobile company, GM aspires to reduce its carbon footprint to 0. And by 2023, they're actually introducing 20 new zero emission vehicles to the global market, which should also keep it a very fun and interesting company to follow.
Yeah, sorry, give me 30 seconds. Along that, I'm looking into
Victor.
What's that?
I said I'm trying to rush you out of here.
Yeah, that's okay. No, we're also looking into special chemicals. Ecolab and PPG are 2 industry leaders. Ecolab is a global leader in water, hygiene, and infection protection. And you can only imagine how important that's going to be post-COVID, whenever that is. They serve over 40 different industries, so hotels, restaurants, oil rigs, you name it. hygiene, we believe, is going to be very important within the next year and probably an eternity. PPG is a global supplier of paints, coatings, optical products. They're a leader in their industry because they have very low emissions, and that's what we're also looking for. They have a really good MSCI ESG score, and yeah.
Thanks. So thank you all, analysts. And again, there's a survey that's, my goodness, I just don't know how to work my computer. There's a survey in the chat. So if you is specifically interested in one sector, like multiple sectors, you can sign up to go to those meetings and kind of communicate more directly with those members. I'm going to pass it on to Miraj to kind of talk about what ESG is, like our themes, how we're integrating into the fund, and more of like a high level overview, but this is going to be the bulk of the club and like kind of going forward, like what all the general body meetings are about.
Hi everyone. So yeah, I'm going to go over what ESG is, and just like the high level of what ESG is. It's environmental, social, and governance. And so what we're trying to do as a group is we're trying to put like qualitative or quantitative data points to it and try to use that in our models to find companies that are really ahead of the curve in terms of these issues. You know, we're looking for companies that have really good environmental standards, that are, you know, having board diversity, that are really caring about the communities that they're in, and we're trying to find data points that allow us to really quantify their impact on our world and on their communities. So the four themes that we have here are community access, sustainable innovation, greener economy, and sustainability, and diversity and inclusion. These are four themes that we found as a group that are the most important to us in terms of our thematic approach to ESG investing. And so that's on the outside of the circle. And if you look at inside of the circle, those are all the sustainable development goals that each of these overarching themes are trying to achieve. For some of them, you can see that we are trying to double dip, and there's going to be certain themes that encompass multiple sustainable development goals. But we're hoping that each company that we pitch, each company that we include in our portfolio, will allow us to achieve these long-term goals that have been enacted by the UN. So if you're looking for more information about what the Sustainable Development Goals are, be sure to check that out. I can throw a link into the chat as well.
I'm so sorry. I'm like so bad with my computer. Oh dear. All right, we're almost there. Not really. I think the next thing is just the specific themes of the sectors.
Okay, yeah. So these are all 6 of our sectors, and each sector has 2 themes, and these themes are going to be overarching. So some of them might even go into multiple sectors, but this is a really good idea to see what these are the companies that each of our sectors are going to be looking into. There might be some companies that are out of this scope, but for the most part, this is what we're going to be doing. So definitely check out, you know, make sure that you know what this list is, and obviously we're going to send this PowerPoint out later. But if there's something, a theme or a group that really interests you, be sure to reach out to them, learn a little bit more about what companies that they're looking into. But these are all really cool themes that each sector is working on, and I really think that's going to allow us to make a really a larger impact with some of our investments. And so this is kind of what the difference between traditional investment and ESG investment looks like. So obviously you guys can read this on your own, but I'm going to kind of go into what ESG integration looks like and what really makes it different from traditional investments. So when you're traditionally investing, all you're looking for is to make a profit. You're just looking to make more money. You don't care how you do it. You don't care what impact it has on people, on the environment, on anybody. What you're doing with ESG investing is you're looking at using your dollars to make an impact on society, on the environment, and the people that are actually doing the work for you. So some of the things that we do in terms of financial and ESG screening is we look at ESG exclusions. So we're looking at like a 10% revenue cutoff, and we're going to look at things such as dollar per greenhouse gas, dollar per CO2 emissions. We're looking at board diversity and how that's improved over the years. We're looking at how much money companies are donating or how much they're investing in communities to actually see changes. And then in terms of fundamental and ESG analysis, we're looking at company industry analysis to see how ESG issues might be affecting a certain company or a certain sector. ESG is integrated into our DCF model, so that's how we come up with what we project the price to be of a share going forward. And that's something that all the analysts are going to be doing. A lot of them have their own templates that they're working on. Each sector is going to have their unique take to how they model a company and how they model their sectors. And then at the end, we're looking for like a 1-year target price to see how much a price will appreciate over time. So we're looking at horizons of 1, 3, and 5 years. And then in terms of implementation, Mohsen, our VP of Portfolio Management, he's looking to construct a portfolio that allows each of the sectors have equal holdings. Now, he looks over risk management, and we're going to be, with the VP of Data Analytics, we're hoping to kind of get a dashboard going about how these companies are improving in terms of not only their financial performance, but their ESG performance too. So that's going to be some of the data points that we get off MSCI, from Sustainalytics, from Bloomberg, and a couple other providers that we're working on getting for you guys. So really all it encompasses is monitoring. And now the next thing that we utilize here is the SASB Financial Material ESG map. This is something that you can go on the SASB website. It's a really great map. Almost any company that is looking to do ESG investing has utilized this map or used it to create their own. And so these are some of the bigger issues that each of the themes have. So in terms of environment, some of the big things that we look at here is greenhouse gas emissions. If you're looking at leadership and governance, these are all really important key issues that government boards have. We want to make sure there's not a lot of controversy score associated with a company, so we don't have to come out of that holding if something does occur. Business models, we're looking for a company that has like long-term growth potential. So we're not just looking for a company that's doing well now. We want to see what improvements they're making to make sure that they're a sustainable company to incorporate into our portfolio for the long term. Social capital, so we're looking for how companies treat their employees. Obviously, treating your employees is really important. We're trying to see what kind of programs that they're running for them. Are they creating a diverse and inclusive work culture? And companies that aren't doing it, we try to stay away from it, because we believe that every employee has a right to feel safe and welcomed in their communities. And so working for companies that are really improving their standards and working with outside providers to make a better company culture. And then human capital, we're looking for labor practices. This is something that you'll probably see in materials sector. We're looking for them to make sure that they're keeping their employees safe, and what kind of things that they're doing to make sure that all their employees are taken care of physically and mentally. So like I mentioned earlier, this is the materiality map. This is something that you can find online. I believe like she hovered over it and you saw that little link. So when we send out the presentation, feel free to click that. And if you click like the little grayed out boxes, it gives you an even larger description of what that means for that sector. And so it's a really great map to learn a lot more about ESG and how it is important to each of those sectors there. And so our most important strategic partnership as of right now is MSCI. It's one of the few ESG data providers that almost every investment firm uses. It's a really amazing resource. We have 8 accounts, I believe, and then each sector will have one, and I'll have one, and then the group itself has one. So if you're looking to do a little bit of research for a company, or you want to just see how it works, feel free to reach out to us and we can help you get the login and show you how to do things. One of the things, like Elise mentioned, we're going to have a few MSCI workshops. But this is what all of our analysts are using to get their ESG data. They have like a letter ranking, so AAA to CCC. And so that's what the cutoff is. There is BB. So those are the companies that we're looking to include. They come out with really extensive resources. Their reports are some of the most detailed reports you'll ever find. They have a lot of great information on them. So if you're looking to research a company, feel free to reach out to us and we'll help you.
Awesome. Thanks, Miraj. So as always, contact us whenever you need. So these are all the eBoard's emails. So if you have any specific questions about ESG research and you want to email Miraj about something, or portfolio management, like feel free to do so at any time. And then our general body email is SM_ESG. Our LinkedIn, we are like very active on LinkedIn. We have a lot of cool articles on there if you're looking for some really good reading. Our website is also really great. You can all of our LinkedIns are attached to our pictures, and you can connect with us, and our annual report is there too if you want to read that I mentioned before. Honestly, even if you just Google like Bentley Sustainable Investment Group, the website will come up like first or second. And then also please follow us on Instagram. We don't have too many followers. Like we love having Instagram followers, makes us feel better. And in terms of going forward with the contacting, so I know there's like a million different ways. There's campus groups, there's email, like what have you. So I think what we decided we're going to do is we're going to have the general body Zoom meeting using the same exact link. So the same link that we use this year, this meeting for the duration of the semester. So 2 o'clock every semester on Tuesdays. And then in terms of the actual sectors, we're going to start using Microsoft Teams because for this club especially, like there's so many documents and things, and we have all these templates to share with you guys, and we have all these videos. So we're going to start transitioning into that once you pick your sectors and whatnot. So don't worry about that yet, but just kind of know going forward, that's what we will be using. But for now, we'll be posting updates through campus groups, and then also we'll be sending out emails to the general body as well. If you have any friends that are interested or you're not already on the general body distribution list, you can email the general body. You can sign up on our website. You can sign up on our LinkedIn. There's like so many different ways that you can do it. Yeah, and then look out this week for the VP of Data Analytics application, the 2 freshman liaison positions. Then we're also thinking about doing like a social media chair. And that kind of like helps run the Instagram and whatnot too. So like if you have any friends that are in marketing and want to be involved, like it's not necessary that you're a finance major to be in the club. Yeah, so thank you guys so much. I know this was a little bit of a dry presentation. We just had like a ton of information to get you guys. But going forward, we're definitely going to try and spice things up a little bit. And, you know, if you are on eBoard, you become an analyst, like we're doing an eBoard Wine Wednesday, and Barno had a really good idea that we're all going to dress up like our sectors. So like we do have fun. I know it is serious because it is Bentley's money, but we have a lot of good people in this group. So again, general body next week. Ask us any questions, follow us on social media, and please, please, please fill out the survey so that we know who is here and we know what sectors you're interested in, so that we can pick out good times for you guys to meet. So at this point, I'm going to open it up for any questions. But if no one has any questions, then I can send you on your way. No one wants to be brave and ask a question.
I got a question.
Amazing. Yes.
Are you looking to split up any of the sector groups? Like I saw there was one sector group that had like energy, utilities, and communications. Are you looking to split up any to make like more groups or so?
Yeah. So the reason that they're grouped like that is because of our benchmark and kind of the weights on the sectors. So for example, like financials has a pretty big weight in the Russell 3000, but real estate doesn't. So we needed to like group those together so that was more even. So that was kind of the logic behind that. So I think we're going to keep the sectors how they are, just based on the weighting from our benchmark. But if you were wondering in terms of like becoming analysts of the positions that are going to be open, I did mention before that we're going to have 2 open positions next semester. But the other thing too is we are a new group. Like we did just join or we did just come onto campus last year. So a lot of the kind of background and operations things are like very, they're not really set in stone. So like we want to change things. We definitely can going forward. And we really do value like the input from not only the analysts and the e-board, but also the general body, if you guys have ideas or like ways to make things better as well.
Gotcha.
Thanks. Any other questions? No? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much again, and I hope to see you all next week. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I didn't want to ask in front of everyone, but do you know if it's going to be at 2 every single week? Like